they've just released their newest album. Congratulations, first and foremost, man.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Yeah. So yesterday, so considering both of us have had it like chaotic, this is my fifth stream in 3 days, like which is a little bit, which is a bit higher than what I normally do. So
Right.
yeah. So listen, we'll talk about your, obviously you're here to talk about your music. We'll talk about your music, but
Sure.
let's just bullshit for a little bit because it
Yeah,
sounds
yeah.
like
Sure, man.
it sounds like it's.
That's fine.
It sounds like to me, it sounds like to me you need it. Like it sounds like you've had a hectic, nonstop,
Right.
crazy schedule. So like,
Any
so what's
Yeah,
been what's
no, I was just gonna say like any like we have some friends in town in a band called LCN and they're playing a show in 2 weeks. It's the first one in 4 years because of the pandemic and all that crap.
Yep.
And it's just like, we're bitching about all the stuff we have to do. They're bitching. Do you know what I mean? So we're just
No, total no. It's cool. Like so I'm in this weird space. I'm a freelancer now. I've been a freelance writer, podcaster for a little while.
right.
Right. I'm almost at a living wage. Yes.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
know
geez.
it's not easy, so congratulations, seriously.
Oh yeah, it's mindset, man. It's totally a mindset. It's
Right.
mindset and probably copious amounts of alcohol. But I am Canadian, so we can definitely hold our
Right. Where are
yeah.
you from?
Oh, everywhere. But I'm currently in Calgary, Alberta. Where are you, man?
Okay, Montreal, man.
Montreal. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I have heard stories of some of the shit you guys have been through in the pandemic over there, and some of that's just
Oh
like
man,
I've heard. Oh my god.
like
Like,
can't leave the house after 8, can't leave the house after 8:10, can't leave the house at 7:55. It was just and like, look, man, when this whole thing started and no one
yeah,
knew what it was, okay,
yeah.
sure, like we're all in this together. But like when it's like, hey, like you can go get vaccinated the day after you get vaccinated, the day after you get vaccinated. It's like my doctor's like, no, that's wrong. You shouldn't do any of that. So it's like the
Oh,
politicians are just fucking, they're stupid, man. You know? So
no, it's money, man. I mean, it's
right,
all it's all but it's really at the end of the game. At the end of the day, like, okay, I lived in Ontario. I was in Ontario during the pandemic, so
right.
we had the no underwear policy for like 6 months. Like, I mean, that was our stupid. Like we couldn't go to a store and buy underwear or socks in a
What?
store for like six. Oh yeah, I'm sure. Much like you saw people. I'm going to be openly honest. Again, I'm not going to tell anybody what they should or shouldn't do, but like I think everybody bent the rules a little bit, and I'm going to be first to admit it. Like, right?
You're gonna
Yeah,
either bend the rules or you're gonna blow your brains out. You can't stay home alone for 2 years and like not see people. That's just insane. You
yeah.
know?
No, that's basically it. And oh, no, I mean, my favorite story during the pandemic was when so I was in Windsor, Ontario. So
Right.
yeah, right. So there was this barber. So I was looking to get a haircut, and then this is when everything was still shut down. It's like, oh, this barber shop, he's open. Really? Oh yeah. Just going through the back. They'll let you in. Right.
I've
That's
heard
where we.
of Photoshop.
Well,
It's like,
well. I mean, I mean, here's the thing. Like, I think one of the other things that really made this really that the whole thing that was weird about the whole thing was this, especially in the beginning. I think everybody was empathetic towards it because, again, like you said, no one knew. Everybody was kind of like, let's just take it one day at a time and figure this shit out.
right.
But you didn't protect any small businesses during this time
Nothing.
either. You let them. You protected nothing. So I saw businesses just evaporate and disappear. Now, not the big chains, but the little guys, right?
Right.
So if you're a little guy and you've got a family to feed and you decide to fuck the rules, I can't really hold that against you now, can I?
Right.
Right?
And now they have to pay CERB back, which may
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's just it, right? Like these are things. These are like, well, I never touched surf. Like, I decided when the pandemic started is when I started to become a freelancer,
right.
and like the first year I did it, when it obviously, like, as you know, when you're trying to make your music money, the first year you got kind of like you have to deal with your own little headspace of
Right.
what the fuck am I doing, right? That's right. That's the thing, and then. But somewhere along the way, what happens is you develop the confidence to, like, you have to, or else you never do get paid. And as you develop the confidence to, um, you know, you go, okay, I can do this, right? And don't get me wrong, like this month for me, I mean, I made money last month and I'm getting paid. I'm throughout for the lot, but this has been my worst month in a year, right? By far. That's the, but that's again, it's part of the game. You go down, you go up, you go down, you go up,
Yeah,
right?
that's for sure.
Right. So it's part of the game. Now I may have to go get a part-time gig. Like I'm waiting. I've been waiting for this meeting that's going to happen this weekend, and depending on what happens on it, I might be getting a part-time gig. Then again, maybe I don't. Maybe I'm like all magically taken care of too. It's a cool opportunity if it works my way. But if it doesn't, I'm going to have to. I may have to flip burgers for a few weeks. Right. So, right. That's part of the gig. That's it. Yeah.
But you might take the gig, and then next month it's awesome, and you're like, I'm not working here anymore.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, I mean, like, I don't necessarily have to go. Like, even next week, I don't necessarily have to work next week, but I have to get it. Like I have to. If I don't have this gig, it's like, okay, then I have to go and look for something else. Next month, I have a job, and I have another gig coming possibly next month. I have another gig. I have like 2 or 3 possible things coming my way next month, which is great. But again, you don't. But that's the thing; it's up and down. Like you know this as well as I do. Like there are moments, like although now that what you guys are finally able to perform again, there might be more ups than downs. I can only fucking imagine for you. It was like during the pandemic. Like, what the hell do I do, right?
Like the record was. It's like it took a long time to get like the live lineup together, but basically, I mean, man, like I've had the record mixed. Like, okay, so I started writing these songs, the ones on the record, in 2011. So imagine. And, there was some other bands and other stuff going on and this and that. But the record was finally mixed. I feel like it was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And then we're like, okay, let's find a drummer. There's no drummers. Montreal's small, and every drummer's in 10 bands. So there's like 9 drummers, and they're in 50 bands each, right? So, or so I thought, But anyway, so I ended up finding my bassist Carlos, my guitarist Raf, who plays rhythm guitar, and yeah, man, we started like plugging away, and then the pandemic hit, and then it was just like, when are we going to put out this record? It's like, well, I'm not going to put it out now. Who's going to hear it? My mom? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what's the point? You can't tour on it, so yeah, man, we've been holding on to it the whole pandemic. I mean, even before that, but once we all found each other. Then it was like, okay, let's play. Oh, we can't go out. Oh, we can't go to the grocery store. Oh, we can't so it was like, okay, it was just stay home and wait, basically,
And everybody was driven to some degree batshit crazy through the whole process because it just, no, dude, like I said, I watched it. My sincere hope is we do what Sweden did next time. It worked. Right, it worked there.
The natural immunity, is that what they did?
They didn't lock down like we did. Like they had some restrictions, but nowhere even close to ours. And they actually, when you go look at their data from October, like their initial wave was higher.
Right.
But when you got to October 2020, they had one of the lowest like death infection rates in the world for a year after outright. It worked. What they did worked. Now it wasn't perfect. I'm gonna like I've had this discussion with some friends. It wasn't a perfect solution either, but they did better than we did. Like what these extremes we did here. I mean, if you look right now, if you want to look worldwide, more extreme places are paying for it now. South Korea paid for it earlier this year. Australia paid for it earlier this year.
Right.
So I mean, it was one of those situations. It's one of those situations when we really take a step back from all this. If we're honestly looking at it, I mean, by and large, we fucked up, and on many levels. So, and and again, and I can talk to some people about that. And some people go, no, that's not the case. It's like, look at the numbers. Numbers don't lie on that shit, right?
Right. I mean, honestly, Josh, like I think it was last summer, I just checked out. I was like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't care. Like, I'm not going to wear a mask in a public space that's closed or something like that. I don't mean it in that way. It was more like I'm like into politics and stuff like that. I'll watch like, news or whatever. Well, not mainstream stuff, but just
Yeah. No, I
real,
get you.
real journalists. I'll follow real journalists or whatever. So it's just to say, like, I just stopped. I was like, I just want to watch comedy. I
Yeah,
can't
no, which is not.
psychologically. Couldn't take it anymore, man. I was just
No, no,
like,
no, dude, it's totally that's totally like for lack of a better term, it's a self medication. I want to escape too. I don't need to deal with
right.
this shit, right? I don't want to deal with this, right? No, and that's a normal reaction when you have
Yeah.
like because it's an extreme stress. But what eventually happens too, and this is kind of where I think where most of us have hit is fear dies. At sooner or later, you hit a point where you're just like, you know what, I'm just going to live my life, and I'm not going to give a shit no more, right?
Right.
And that's I think most of us are there, right?
Yeah, I mean,
So,
look, I got COVID last year,
mhm.
and I was really fucked up, man. Like I had 102 fever for 2 weeks straight. I had blood clots in my shins, which is like the
Yeesh.
weirdest thing ever. And they told me when I called, was it 411,
Yeah.
811? It's one of those, whatever. They're like, yeah, if that gets worse, you might die. So come to the emergency. I was like, awesome. So I mean, I got it really bad. Like some people are like, yeah, I sneezed once and it was over. Like you have those.
I was more in that category. Like I
Right.
think yeah, I was in Vancouver. I was in
Okay.
Vancouver when in January, and I think COVID was around then, but we just didn't it didn't go to the crazy. My thinking is for me that's probably when I got it because
Right.
I was working in a dock and getting all this stuff from overseas. So I'm thinking probably something came over from there, and it was weird. I was sick for like 3 days, and then but
Okay.
that was it. That was it. I was
That's
done.
great, man. That's great.
Yeah,
It's crazy because some people it's like that. Some people it's one day. And then I have friends of friends where, oh, my cousin died. And they
yeah,
were
no, oh no,
insane,
like this, like I always say this. I don't take away from the severity of what it was.
Right, right, right.
Right,
No,
yeah,
for
no,
sure.
but there also just comes a point too. Like I mean, cancer still killed more people during 2020 than COVID did. Heart
Right.
disease is still a big thing. We live in a world where there's all kinds of maladies, and you just get tired. Like after a while, I don't know about you. I the narrative of COVID, I got really sick of it in 2021. Like really sick of
Well,
it, and so
it's
I just said time to move on. It's if you
that's
have
it.
to.
That's it. Like, look, if they're gonna keep telling you every day that the air outside is gonna kill you, are you just gonna stay home and that's it? Like, of
Yeah,
course not. You're gonna go out. So it's kind of the same thing. It's like eventually like the will to just want to participate in this existence that we've been like
yeah,
given from our parents or what have you. It's like, hey man, I want to go outside and just walk in the park by myself. I can't do that. Like that doesn't. So that's it's like when you're perpetuating a scientific angle and everything is the opposite, it just doesn't make any sense. And it's like
no,
I want to listen to the scientists, but then there's the other angle, which is like social media is such a, I mean, look, without, we wouldn't be connecting right now without social media in a certain
absolutely.
way, right? So that's
Oh,
fine.
totally.
So like the fact that like I can write to like Dave Lombardo or Paul Bostaff from Slayer and just go, hey man, I love your drumming on this record is amazing. But then it's also like dude, I mean like Twitter and like I have an account. The band has an account on Twitter and we don't use it at ever because I hate the name of the fucking website. I think it's so stupid. And it's also like a bathroom stall. Like, okay, so like
Kind
you
kind.
do
You
you
know,
know what I mean?
I never thought of Twitter as a bathroom stall before, but that's
But
not
that's what,
it,
like,
that's not inaccurate. That's not inaccurate though. I like the
what
analogy.
do you mean? Like
Yeah,
call me for a good time, and it's like I want to live, and then someone crosses it out and says I want to die, and someone crosses it out, and do you know what? It's this self-perpetuating like echo chamber of nonsense, and like this is the other thing too. If you actually want to get things done, like let's say social justice, which unfortunately because of the times that we live in has become like a dirty word.
yeah,
It's like okay, so Metallica, Stranger Things. We won't ruin the finale for whoever's watching this, but it's to say like now there's people on TikTok that want to cancel Metallica for their checkered past,
yeah.
and it's just like you look at the examples they're giving. There's no context, and it's so dude. They're the biggest metal band ever. You're not
Yeah.
gonna cancel Metallica. Like they're bigger than
I,
Priest. They're bigger than Maiden. They're bigger than Sabbath.
okay. So a hilarious Metallica story though. I think
Sure.
this is
And just like they're my favorite band, man. So like,
no. Here's my hilarious one. Okay, here's the thing. I'm not so crazy about what they did with Napster. I think we were both old enough to remember that. But I think but on Twitch, the irony of that caught up to them because they're doing a live performance on Twitch. Their music got hit as copyrighted music, so it actually got replaced. Now to me, but to me, that is hilarious. That is a hilarious. They created their own mess there, and I kind of like I dug that.
Now, I mean, it's super ironic, right? I think that happened to. There's two guys that are super popular on Twitch. I don't know the platform that much. I know I'm a huge Devin Townsend fan, so like if he's on there, I'll watch anything he does. But I know that there's Herman Lee from Dragon Force who's on it. He does stuff, and like I know Debbie's been on that show, like shredding with him and all this, and doing interviews. And then there's do you know this main guy in Trivium? I forget what his name is right now.
I know of Trivium, so I don't know which main guy you're talking about. The singer, the guitarist, like
Yeah, he's the singer. Okay. Guitar player. I forget. I can't. His name escapes me now. I'm not a fan of that band, even though like I like him. Like I've seen stuff on Twitch, and I'm like, I really like this guy. He seems like a good dude, you know. Yeah. But that happened to one of them, where like they were playing their own songs, and like
I know. I mean, but I get like that one. I do blame Metallica for, but I think in that particular case, hilarious. Like that is hilarious.
Oh my God.
But it's not like okay. So for me, this is what like social media is great. Like obviously, all right, I get to meet people like you because of social media, and I'm grateful for that. But the other thing I actually do, and I think this is where social media can be really neat, if you decide to use it as a research tool. Like, for example, let's say you want to follow a current event. It's really good that way because you can literally get a minute-by-minute update. It's fantastic for that. Like, it is the best news. If you use it that way, it is legitimately the best news source because you will literally get – it's legitimately the best. It beats everything. But – most of the time when you go onto these social media platforms, what happens is like I had this conversation yesterday with actually the author I interviewed and the band I interviewed. Like we did the same thing. By and large, like no one cares. This is what I like the superficial shit that people want to pick fights with each other over.
Right.
I don't give a fuck, and I don't think you do either. I think me and you essentially only really like seriously. I figured this out. I'm 40. I don't know how old you are. I'm guessing around that area, right? Maybe a little younger, right? Maybe a little younger, maybe a little. I don't know. All right. So, don't judge me or punch me.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Awesome,
yeah. But I say it like this. At this point, I only give a shit really about 4 things, arguably. Okay, and one of them you might argue with me, but we'll get there. It's this: what I want to do,
right?
Who I want to do it with,
right?
What works. What legitimately works,
right?
And where I stand with God, and I can do whatever that you believe in that department,
right?
I really can't think of anything else that's worth a damn.
I would add like a little footnote to that and add just like on all of them, as long as all of that stuff doesn't hurt anything or anyone.
Oh, that's all. Oh no, you Ryan. Here's the 5th, right? I give you the freedom to do the same damn thing.
Right.
Because that covers that, all of that, right?
Now, if someone comes up to me and says your band sucks, I'm like, well, that's none of my business, right? Because like, Metallica, first 4 records and all that stuff. There's a lot of people on Earth that don't listen to Metallica, don't like metal. So like, if someone tells you, goes and tells James Hetfield that he stinks or whatever the case may be, it's like, okay, dude, like, who cares? But it's so to your point, what I'm trying to say is that like, a person can have their opinion.
Yeah.
And they can tell me, I think your song's shit or whatever. And I can go, okay, that's great. But I can also choose to like not care because I don't, right? Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
No, it totally makes sense. And the other thing too is, I mean, the only thing I would tell you is the people who really don't like you are probably the people you're going to make the most money off of. I mean, that's just so. Then I say it like that. So just, I mean, figure out how to use that to your advantage is the only thing I would tell you. But, But no, like that's just it. Like people are allowed to have opinions. People are allowed to do like that's it. Like that's all people want. Like everything I think I mentioned there. I really don't know what else is important. I'm right, like right, right.
Yeah.
It's right. So if it doesn't hit any of those, if it doesn't check any of those boxes, why give a fuck?
Right.
Like, right. Do I care what your politics are? No. Do I care what you believe in? Not really. I mean, we can talk about it, but not really. I mean, I mean, we cool. Do I care what alcohol you drink? Well, do I care what ice cream you like? Maybe. But I mean, right.
You put
But
pineapples on your pizza.
sometimes, yeah, sometimes, right.
Right.
I don't. But again,
No, me neither.
I,
Fuck that.
yeah,
Disgusting.
yeah.
Get the fuck out of here with that shit, man. You know?
That's like, no, but no one cares, right? And that's just it. And here's the best part too: we're big enough adults. We'll probably disagree on some shit.
Yeah. So what?
So what? Yeah, exactly.
You know, I have friends that like leaped over to like the other side of the political spectrum, and it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't even matter which one it is. And I'm like, and I was just like, I was seeing them like just hanging out with them recently, and I'm like, this person is the same person they were a year ago. Like nothing's changed. Now,
Yeah.
you know, when I was 20, you could say I was part of the woke left or the whatever, but like on for me, it was one of those things where it's like, one, I'm 20, I'm like a baby. To
Yes.
me, it's like you don't hit adulthood until you're 30 anyway. Like, are you kidding me?
I,
You
I,
you know?
I think you hit. I think you hit adulthood. This is just me. Is when you
Right,
whenever you come face to face with your first serious event on your own. Whenever that happens, because
right.
at that point, you have to grow up a little bit. Right, and that can be
Yeah.
any like, right. That can
Yeah,
be
I mean,
any.
you know,
Yeah.
losing parents, grandparents, that type of thing, that definitely, it fundamentally changes you. It strips away like a layer of innocence for sure.
Yeah.
And then, like, it's not the same after, man. It's
No, it's
not the
not.
same.
No.
It's like not to take away from like people that have actually experienced this or victims or whatever, but it feels like a kind of like a rape in a way where it's like you're just fundamentally changed by it forever. Maybe that's not the best analogy, but I think you understand what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
It's the first inevitable change. Like, life's gonna go on no matter what
Right,
you fucking do.
right,
That's just the way it is, right? And you have to accept that, right? And um that's life. And but whenever you deal with that moment, whenever you come face to face with that moment where you realize I'm not really in control of much in this world. I think that's the thing. I think that's the difference when you're a kid and when you're an adult. When you're a kid, you think I can do everything. When you're an adult, it's not that you can't do everything, but you have that knowledge in your head that this ride is just doing its own damn thing, and I'm just on the
right.
train, man. I'm just on the train, and that's it.
The other thing too, man, is that when you're younger and you feel that way, there's
Yeah.
also like the possibility that like mom and dad are knocking out that rent for you. So it's
Yes.
kind of like, you know, there's that pressure isn't there and you don't understand it until you're on your own. And
Yeah.
having like left home at 18 or whatever, that's when you're like, oh man, this shit is like for real here,
Oh yeah.
you know?
Well,
So
yeah. I mean, and that's just it. Like, I'm right this minute. We're talking about this freelance thing. I'm not quite sure how rent's going to get paid right this minute. That's
right,
life. That's just life, right?
right,
I'll figure something out one way or the other because that's what an adult does,
right.
right? That's it,
100%, man. You know?
right? So, but that is how this goes. That is how life. That's the difference between a kid and an adult. That's the only real difference between a kid and an adult.
Yeah.
So, but again, everybody hits that, I think, at a different age. But by the time you're 30, hopefully, you know who you are. You have a little confidence in what you can do, because that's when
Right.
you're going to use your confidence. And then you get to then I get to 40, and then I'm like, I'm going to be a fucking monster for the rest of my life because
You're gonna be a monster, you said?
a monster, I'm fucking monster. Yeah, because
Right.
here's what. Because so the pandemic taught me three important things. But the two that matter here is this: um, never fall in love with your ideas so much. Don't come so attached to an idea that you feel like when someone attacks your idea, they're
Right.
attacking you. Never be detached from all outcomes. Because if you can
Right.
be detached from all outcomes, it's hard to manipulate you. It's harder. Not
Oh yeah.
impossible, but it's a lot harder.
Right. And
Because
that's
you're
very
not.
meditative, by the way, because
Yeah.
if you've I don't know if you meditate or you don't or whatever, but having practiced it at some points in my life, there's the goal is to disassociate from the thoughts. to identify with them. So it's kind of the same philosophy where you're treating the thoughts as if it's like like traffic outside.
Yes.
It's something that it's coming and then it leaves, and you're not really participating in it. You're observing it from the outside almost, and that's. Do you know what I mean?
No, I get it. I think the only thing is, I think this is just where this is an honest, conscious thing. No matter who you are, you have an ego, and because you have an ego, there are going to be there are going to be ideas you're more attached to than others. That's just the way it is. So I'm not saying I'm perfect in this regard, and I say it like that because I am wise enough to know I'm vulnerable to it. That doesn't make me immune. But it makes me far less likely to fall for anything either. Right. That's the thing, right? I'm a big enough man to acknowledge that still acknowledges my vulnerability. Right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Right?
Like you lose that naivety.
Yeah.
Which is like almost like a mini death in a way.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like then you realize that the world is let's say a different. Mm-hmm. It's the experience changes, and in some ways it's sad, and in some ways it's beautiful because you're more aware. Yeah. Like you can't be taken for a ride as easily as you would have 10 years ago.
Exactly. Exactly, and that's the first thing. And the second thing, and this is why I say I've become a monster. I don't have to cooperate with anybody I don't want to, no matter what.
Right.
And that realization is a gloriously wonderful thing. Which means that probably by the time I'm 50, I'll probably have a wanted poster with my face on it, probably somewhere. Who knows?
That's your version of aiming upwards. Go for it, man.
No, I don't know about aiming upwards. Not it just I did. What happened? See, this is what's happened to me is I have the confidence in who I am.
Right.
And because I have that confidence in who I am, I'm not going to bend for anything anymore. The same way. That doesn't mean I'm not deferential or I'm not respectful to things bigger than me.
Sure.
But it doesn't. But I'm not gonna. I told the story a few times. Like I got a C train ticket in Calgary. Like I rode a train. I forgot it. I tried to just get by the cop. Cop stopped me. But I was so relaxed once they were in. They actually sent 3 more cops down to make sure I wasn't going to do anything. They thought it was dangerous. It wasn't dangerous. I was cooperating fully, but I wasn't afraid of them either. And I think that rattled.
You see those videos online, and you tend to wonder if it's going to become one of those horror stories.
There's 5 of them, so I was a little nervous for that, for the numbers, but I'm not scared of authority the same way. I'm not scared of. I'm respectful and I will cooperate, but I'm not afraid. That's a very interesting combination, right? That kind of means I'm just going to do my thing, and I'm not gonna, and I don't have the same worries. And I realize that might sound like an arrogance. I've said this a few times on the show. It might sound like an arrogance, but it's just I think you just come to.
I don't know if it's arrogant, man. If you know, for example, if you know your rights, then you know you can't be trifled with, and they can't take you for a ride and just do whatever they want with you. Now, obviously, if they're sociopathic or whatever, then they might do whatever they want anyway. But at the very least, you know that you've exercised everything in your power and your will and what have you to just, cooperate and just be like, okay, well, I did everything I was supposed to here and you didn't, and you crossed the line, and here we are, Well,
it's also, I think, just the fact that I'm still going to look them in the eye no matter what. Like,
right.
That's
it.
Right. I'm not, again, it's just a quiet little thing. It's like, I'm me, and I don't care who's across from me. It's like, I'm me, right? So that's a confidence. It might be my undoing, maybe down the road. Who knows? But I mean, it's just you can't. I have spent my life realizing that most of us are afraid to just truly be ourselves. And when you get to a certain age, you just realize, fuck it, just fuck it. Yeah, right.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I think you respect where I'm coming from on that one.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So that's just it, right? Now, and I'm a big enough man to realize that the world's bigger than me. But I'm also just going to do what I damn well please while I'm still here, because why not? That's why I'm here.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a good little bit of bullshit, I think, right there. Okay, so because you had a lot more time on your hands than you anticipated. We all did, right? Did you guys continue to work on music during the time?
So it's interesting, man, because the three of us, we just lost our like. You're not going to rehearse the same set for 2 years to not play a show when everything's closed and you don't know when stuff's going to open. We actually started like a sister band that's like kind of like post punk
Yeah.
almost, like early U2, early Cure. But then there's stuff in there that's kind of reminiscent of Tool and I don't know, a bunch of other things. So we ended up writing 10 songs for that. For me, with the occult, I mean, dude, to be perfectly honest with you, I've written 8 records for this band already. Like they're all demoed and everything. Like they're finished. So that's what I spent like the last decade doing. So during the pandemic, it's like, yeah, I would write songs here and there, but I'm also like, it's one of those things where because I've written so much stuff on my own, I'm kind of like, I'd rather do it in a group setting. So we put the rehearsals aside because, again, we're like, are we playing in January in 6 months? Are we playing in a year? None of us knew anything. So it was one of those things where we wrote, but we literally wrote for like, it's like an unnamed kind of sort of post-punk thing. And we just jammed and jammed and jammed. And it was funny because we were using like programmed drums and we would just set a BPM and just jam for 20 minutes and then ended up writing songs with that or what have you. But yeah, man, for the occult, I mean, it's like I wrote songs, I finished like, let's say the 8th album or whatever.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to like, it's coming out Friday, the first record, putting that behind us. We have another song that we're going to mix and release at the end of October, like for Halloween.
Yeah, okay.
And we're going to keep promoting the record till then. And we got like, so there's the record launch is this Friday. It's August 19th at Piranha Bar in Montreal. And then we have a bigger show opening up for a band called Wednesday 13. I don't know if you know them or not.
I don't know them, but that's so.
I didn't know them either, but apparently the crowd will be sympathetic to the stuff that we do, which is cool. And our buddies in the bassist on the record is my buddy Gianni Beretta, who plays in a great band called House of Dusk. They're also opening that gig. So
wow.
It's
have like double duty that day.
Right. It's like Occult Illumini like .ca or over here, So it's cool, man. And we're super excited. But like the other 2 bands, Wednesday 13 and Nexus Die, I don't know them at all. I heard one song from each. Seems cool,
Yeah.
But yeah, the show's going to be cool. And it's at this venue called Fofone Electric, which is obviously it's French. It's in like Montreal, right? But man, like Nirvana played there on the Nevermind tour before they blew up. Typo played there, Life of Agony, Devin Townsend, Paradise Lost, all these like legendary bands. So to be standing on that stage is just, it's, dude, like you can go on YouTube and watch Nirvana play that venue, like to 25 people. It's insane, to think that me standing, I'm like I love all that Seattle stuff, man. So for me, to be standing where Kurt was standing is like,
yeah,
it's complete mindfuck,
Well, it's an interesting thing. I actually, it's funny. I actually really started listening to Nirvana this year, like really.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
wow.
I'm out of touch, and I'm very okay with how out of touch I
am.
Right. No, yeah. But I mean, so their most famous album was the one I started with. It's like, this is a damn good album. Like it's really, really, really good.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, it's so like it still stands up. Like if you compare it to what's on the radio today, it's just like, wow.
Why would you bother listening to the radio? You know what I mean? Like it's so shit.
Well, those of us that ever have work again. People have to listen to radio on in offices and stuff like that. So you can
right, yeah.
You got shit like this, and you're like, yeah, our priorities are wrong. Right? Don't get me wrong. I get it. Not everybody likes metal, but not everybody likes metal. But there are so many great songs out there, right? That are even are being made now. Like I said, we live in this centralized world now. Like that's the other thing too. Like it's a decentralized world. Everybody's like
decentralized.
Yeah.
So like crypto, basically, is what you mean.
Well, no. In more like, okay, think of it like this. Okay, this is 20 years ago. This was 20 years ago, and you guys are starting out now. You would be getting a label. You'd still be
Oh
getting a
yeah,
label.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, right. You'd still be getting a label. You'd still be getting. I'm like I said. I know there are music producers out there. I know a few of them even in town in Calgary here. But the thing about that is, right? The way you go about it's different. Now it's very DIY. You're doing it yourself. You're
Yeah.
kind of you're creating your own brand. Artists have to learn today how to be business people as much as they are
Yeah.
artists. It's a big
yeah.
part of the business, right? It's like, so when you are like, and you're like, that means you got to do more interviews. Like, fuck, I'm with this guy on this podcast on Twitch. What the fuck am I going to get run into here, right? And
You know what, man? I love doing interviews. I think it's a blast.
Yeah.
And I love talking to guys like you. For me, it's like
Yeah.
the fact that like anyone cares at all is, do you know what I mean? I think
Yeah,
it's
no,
awesome.
no, totally. But what I mean like this is back in the good old days.
Right.
There would be a lot more of a departments for that. You'd still be doing interviews.
Oh
but
yeah,
that
like
would be,
press departments and what have you. Yeah.
right. So what I mean by decentralized, like publishing is decentralized. There's so many bands on Spotify, for example, that you can go down rabbit holes of just great music that's right there. There's some fantastic artists on Spotify. There's some fantastic artists in Bandcamp. There's some fantastic artists in all these places. But you have to look. And a lot of people, right? A lot of people, and I think the real challenge for the quote unquote indie artists is this. The thing about record labels is they created like a catalog. So if any one of you can figure out a way to how to make your catalog as super accessible and easy to find, if there's a way to do that, you guys would be millionaires, because I mean there's a lot of great shit out there.
Right.
Right. So that's just my, like, again, me bullshitting on the air here, just like that's the real challenge, right? That's the real challenge. And as far as like getting money for records, I mean, you have the option of doing Kickstarters. You have the options of like crowdfunding if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
You have the option of coming on a platform like Twitch to perform if that's what you want to do. It's not the same as a live performance, but you get the idea, right? So there's different ways to interact, and every band kind of has to figure out what works for them, right? But in this world, it's very DIY. It's just that's the world we've come into. Is I built this podcast from nothing. You're my 841st episode.
Awesome, man. Congratulations, dude. Yeah. You're almost at 1,000. That's like awesome, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So, and I'm listened to all over the world. I get listened to in Nanchang, China, which I thought was just like, that's really fucking cool. That's
super cool.
Yeah.
I had a guy, like, my descent is Hellenic, like I'm Greek, and Alex, who played on the record, my best buddy's Greek. So there's this Greek guy from South Africa who's like, oh, there's 2 Greeks in the band. He wrote to us. He's like, how can I get a CD? So like, I got his address. I'm gonna mail him a CD.
Exactly.
And it's just like, fuck, South Africa. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's one of those cool little modern miracles is you can access everybody. It's just what we got to be smart enough and figure out is how to reach these people on a regular basis and go, hey, this is Josh. I got a great podcast. This is Eric. I'm an awesome band. I got an awesome band.
I'm amazing. Give me your money,
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, there's a guy. I don't know if you know. Do you know Gary V?
Like, I don't know Gary V.
He's like an entrepreneur. His goal in life is to buy the New York Jets, and he's like pretty loaded. And they ask him like, okay, so you have like 1 billion followers on Instagram and all this. Why do you do small podcasts with like 130 followers? And he's like, because 130 is better than fucking 0, So and he's right, man. It's like, if you can be anywhere and everywhere, it's to your benefit. And in my case, I really like that philosophy. Plus, I actually enjoy talking to people. Really do.
No. It's also this, like, we are in a niche world, right? You're a metal guy. Metal is for all. I think metal's got there's some great things about metal. I think ultimately the biggest music fans are either metal people or jazz people. That's just my opinion, right? But that all said, it's a niche. So for
Oh
you,
yeah.
it may, but the thing is, niches are incredibly loyal to whatever their niche is to,
Right.
right? So if you find people that are very loyal to those niches, if that 130, if you go to a place where there's 10,000 people, but only 100 people buy, and if you go to a place with 130 people where 100 buy, I mean, you'd rather have the
Right,
130
man.
people. You would rather have the 130 because that's a loyal base. The
Right.
10,000 shrug, right? You maybe not, right? There might be some loyal guy people there, but that's I mean, it's a different world, right? Not right. It's a very different world now than it was 20 years ago,
Oh yeah.
right?
I mean, just like you being able to connect with someone in China and me being able to connect with someone in South Africa. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know if you've been to China. I haven't been
no,
to South
not,
Africa.
no,
I had a friend who went there. He said it was awesome. So
yeah,
I'm just like, man, I would love to go play in South Africa. Like, I'd love to play everywhere and anywhere, you know?
yeah.
So,
So, I mean, you were talking about dream stages earlier. So, what's your do you have any other dream stages you wanted like the band to perform on, like anywhere like famous arenas, things like that?
well, like, so there's a couple of things in the works. We might be going, and then you're the first person I'm saying this to, but we might actually be heading to like Central slash like South America, like at the end of the year.
That's cool.
So we'll see how that goes. If those plans like wait, if I say they fall through, does that mean they're going through, or does that mean that they didn't work out?
They fell through. They didn't work out. They didn't work
Ah, so
out.
never mind. That's not, I was like, wait, that's not correct. Anyways, so if all that stuff locks in, that's a better way to say it, I guess.
Yes, that one fits. Yes.
Right there, you go. Like I said, man, I was like, oh man, the I thought the interview was like an hour later, so I'm like,
Hey,
just
this has
finished
been
work, out of sorts, you know.
well.
But
Just think of it like this: we've been bullshitting about stuff for an hour, right?
right,
It's a good kind of interview, an easy
oh
interview to
for
do.
sure, man. I'm having a blast. But so yeah, so we're just focusing locally, and then it's like, okay, let's spread the net wider because I know
Sure.
that like with gas prices as they are, and then it's like, okay, so we're all going to get visas to go to the States. Are we going to be allowed to go through the border? And then it's like there's all the COVID stuff that changes every couple of days. So like there's that, and then also I was listening to Devin Townsend talk about touring in the States, where he's like, it almost seems pragmatic to not even have a lineup per continent. So like he's going there with like he went to Europe and he had guys from England learn his catalog, and then he toured Europe with them. So he doesn't have like, look, he's a solo artist. It's like Nine Inch Nails or whatever, where it's like there's no set lineup. It's like one guy writing everything, or with Nine Inch Nails now it's two guys. It has been that way for a while, but it's to say like with us, it's like, okay, are we going to get through the border? It's like, okay, cool, we got through the border. Okay, let's go to these places. And it's like, we're not big at like first record, we've played 6 shows. So it's like, let's build something here. And then you spiral out like a kind of like a twister where it's like it gets bigger and bigger. And then it's like, okay, like we're playing Ottawa, we're playing Toronto. I mean, we played Ottawa last year, but it was during the pandemic time. So the only people there were people from Montreal, like the owners from Montreal. The 2 employees were from Montreal. Like one guy was from Ottawa. So it was like the 2 bands, the employees, and like the one dude from Ottawa, which was like it was our first gig. So who cares, you know?
Well, yeah, you break the plan. Although I do find it hilarious that going to Ottawa to Montreal, the people are still going out and doing stuff. I think that's
Right.
hilarious.
It was just like 5 carloads of our friends, and
Yeah.
like so we basically went, had a party in Ottawa on a Saturday night, and just drove back the same night, and it was cool, man. It's just yeah, so it's just focusing on here, but like there's my guitarist is initially from Mexico, so he has like he knows people down there, and they heard the material, and they're interested in booking us. So we'll see how that plays out, man. You
Hey,
know,
hey, listen. If you become the greatest thing in Mexico, you'll have fun with that.
I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly,
I don't care. You
Yeah.
know,
At that point, I mean, hey, it's like I'm the band nobody's heard of up here, but in Mexico, we are the biggest thing ever. It's like whatever, right?
oh yeah, and like you know, uh, it's like all those Latin countries, man, they're passionate. Like you see
Yeah.
footage of Rush playing there or Iron Maiden or whatever. And these people are going, there's like, actually, there's a clip, man. I think it's from, God, where is it from? It's AC/DC's playing Rock and Roll Train off, not the last record, they put out the one before. And dude, there's a guy weeping, like in the crowd, like he's weeping, and it's like, I've been that guy seeing Maiden or whatever, just like, I can't believe how good it is, so, but there's like, the whole stadium is singing every word. And you're just like, people like, I don't know, man, we don't have that in Canada. People like, you know what I mean? Like that insanity, that passion. And I think because like the States and here, you get so much music all the time, especially the States, that it's like, you know what I mean? Like,
I think it's more of a Canadian thing than an American thing. I'm just gonna just I've lived in the States too. Passion's there. The passion is there. But again, partly it's more competitive down there. That's a big thing because everybody's there. But I've gone to shows even there where everybody's singing the songs, everybody's doing the thing. It may not be a stadium, but I think the passion is genuinely there. I think what happens here, and this is just something I've always said this about Canada. The thing about Canadians are some of the most talented people in the world.
Right.
Right. But here's the thing: most of them don't know it. That's the honest. That's the honest truth. They don't see the worth in that. So what ends up happening is, like that's why there's so many people leave the country, right?
Right.
Like honestly, in terms of the COVID stuff, right? Next year, I might be traveling, making my podcast down the road. I've been wanting to do this, itching to do that for. I might still be in Canada next year because again, depending on how things go with a certain gig, I'm kind of waiting for. I'll still be in Canada, but I also will be starting to travel next year. That is inevitably going to happen. But I also realized that once I start traveling with all the COVID stuff going on, right? It's a pain in the ass to come back to Canada. It's not even so much going. Going isn't the problem. It's coming back.
Yeah.
Right. So there might be, from a pragmatic point of view, I might just get to that point where I'm just like, you know what, maybe it makes more sense for me to stay where I'm at and just occasionally come up to Canada to see my family, and that's it, right? Because it's or because Canada is such a big country. I'm not advocating this, but I mean, they can't watch every road that goes back and forth between both countries. You find one of those roads and you go back and forth that way, just because of the grief, that this is, right? Yeah. So all of which to say, and again, I'm not advocating this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just telling you, like, this is how people think in times like that. When you make things really tough to go back and forth, this is how people start looking. It's like, how can we make this easier on ourselves?
Right. So 100%. Life's hard enough, man.
Yeah, exactly, and that's it, right? And that's it. I think that's where the psychology for this is, and so that's the thing, right? I'm looking at the fact that as a traveler here next year, right? I may end up staying in the States somewhere, right? It's a possibility, right? I'm a dual citizen, so I can live in both countries.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. Right. So for me, it's like, okay, I can go and I can do my thing and whatever. But yeah, that's what it comes down to, man. It's just like I'm looking at the realities of what's happening right now, and it's like, right? It's just like it might be easier, and that's why I think because it's so difficult up here. Going back to my original point here, it's so difficult up here to get anything done easily. Right. I think that really passionate people that go to get things done eventually do just take off, and they don't come back. I think that's one of the reasons why we have such a large brain drain up here.
Right.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
I mean, for me, it's like we haven't toured the States, so we haven't seen that firsthand. It's just like stuff you hear from other bands and other bands where it's like, dude, the Latin countries, they go bananas. But then, like, Anthrax years ago had filmed a live DVD, whatever it was, and it was in Chicago, and they're like, this is the best place in the world to play. Now I've heard stuff about the crime there and this and that, and it's like I'm not going to pretend to know what the hell's going on over there. I don't know, but it's to say like, yeah, man. I mean, they didn't film it anywhere else. And Anthrax, like all that stuff, all those like legacy thrash bands from the '80s. I mean, they're all huge in Europe.
Oh
Like
yeah,
they could have
absolutely.
filmed it in Germany and probably had like a bigger crowd. So who knows?
Well, I mean, that's just it. I mean, usually, like in terms of metal, like the European areas are huge, right? It's
Oh
like,
yeah,
yeah, they're huge. And no, it's one of my little personal goals is to do a European tour at some point in time because
right.
that'd be sweet. Also, like all the bands I'm a big fan of, right? Like
Yeah.
in terms of metal bands, I would love to interview for the podcast. Like I'm a Nightwish guy, I'm an Epica guy, I'm a Taria guy. I like right. I like that.
Okay.
I love the European power metal, right?
Right.
Right. I also
Yeah.
like the Viking metal, like a Monomarth. I'm a big fan of them too,
Okay.
right? So
I don't know any. My bassist is really into what are they called again? I just like they were it was there. I think they're German, and the guy wears like metal plates. He's got a shirt with metal plates on, and he's got like that like mohawk, and it's like his head shaved. What
I
do they
don't know.
call it? It sounds like hero music, man. But I mean, all power metal to me. I'm not a fan of that stuff, but it sounds like hero music. What are they called again? They write about war, and it's not
Manowar.
no. And I see that band. I love. There's one record, The Triumph of Steel, which is awesome.
No. It's fantastic. It like Manowar for me is like that. I can't listen to like they get repetitive a little bit. So
Right.
there's a point I just have to sort of. But if someone wants to do Triumph of Steel or My Battle Prayer or any of those songs on that album, I'll pop. Like I will actually pop. It's like this is cool shit, right?
I remember buying The Triumph of Steel when it came out, and I was like, "This rips, man." I had it on cassette too, So like, there you go.
There you go. Hey, that's right.
You're
old enough to remember cassettes. Yes, it's fantastic.
Sabaton is the band that he loves.
Okay, Sabaton, I know them. Yeah, I know them. Yeah,
loves that stuff. With the big happy choruses and all that. It's not really my prerequisite for music is it has to be sad or dark or evil. If it's happy, I'm not into it, man. Like at all.
Interesting. See, I think in art, happiness is the hardest thing to produce because here's why. Not because it's why you hate it. You hate it because it probably comes across incredibly fucking cheesy, right?
Yeah, it's just like they're pouring more Parmesan cheese than needed on their pasta.
Exactly, right. But if it's done right, like genuine happy moments, if you can do it right, they're amazing. But the thing is, it's a very precious line between happiness and cheese, right? If you're right.
Like for me, I would say bands like the Devin Townsend, whatever, whether it's the band project or just under his namesake, or Typo Negative, when they go from like minor to major and it opens up and it feels celebratory as opposed to, let's say, cheesy.
Yeah.
Like, those power metal choruses, it's like it's just like, come on. Like, no one's that happy, man. Let's take it down a notch. You know what I mean?
I'm a relatively happy guy, but yeah, no, I understand. No, look. Here, I think this is the thing. You like a good stories usually have a good conflict, and and those are the best. And again, this is why like when you look at the like basic storytelling, and it's not just music, but anything. There's a conflict of some kind. Now, in music, not all music, but a majority of music, it's my significant other is awesome, or my significant other is the shits. Right, and that's you, and that's the majority. I'm quoting Alice Cooper, so that's most music.
Sure.
Right. That's why. But because people understand again those conflicts that people can relate to and can understand, right? So. But I mean, I don't mind dark. I don't mind some darkness, but I also don't mind. I like a little bit of everything. I think for me, it's what it comes down to: is it done well, right? Right? Is it done well? If it like, I like humor in music, but that's hard, right? Because it's hard. It's
It
super
comes
hard.
off. It depends how it. It's
Like
like it can come off and be like what's the word I'm looking for, man? Like goofy.
yes.
It's like kitschy, and then it's just like you can't take it seriously because it's just dumb in a
Yeah,
way.
well, it
You
takes you
know?
out. It takes you out of it, right? Because again, humor's
Right.
hard. Humor is super hard for that reason because, like, what you find funny and what I find funny might be very different. And if that's the
Right.
case, right? Like right before we started, I was talking to a friend of mine, right? And I did a dry humor joke. She was like, "I'm doing it for an anime video." So like I said, so what was your video game thing? I asked Dance Revolution as a joke. And then she goes, no, it was some kind of anime thing. So it was Dance Revolution. That was the joke, right? But
Right.
when you're texting the joke, it doesn't translate,
Yeah.
right? And because it doesn't translate, it's not funny. And I have to explain the joke. It's not really that funny, right? You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure, man. I mean,
Yeah,
laughter is involuntary, right? So if it's funny, if a person finds something funny, they're just gonna laugh. There's no thinking about it. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah, exactly.
So yeah, no, I totally get it. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that all that power, man, it's not really my bag, you know. I mean,
That's fine. I don't hold that against you. I mean,
oh, me
yeah,
neither.
yeah. I don't hold that against you.
You know,
We all like what we like. I mean,
yeah, whatever, it's
like,
fine.
yeah, we all like what we like. Okay, so let's do a Metallica like question: Black
Sure.
Album or Master?
Oh, everything before the Black Album, dude.
Yeah.
Like, not fuck the Black Album, but when I was like young and it came out, it was like that was my first love that broke my heart. It wasn't a girl, it was Metallica that like ripped my heart out and threw it in the garbage, you know? And I mean, all these years later, I realized like 4 years ago, 3 years ago, I hadn't listened to it since I bought it. And I was killing it for a while, but having gotten into them during the Justice era, which is for me, it's my favorite era. So having and then working my way backwards and buying, Garage Days Revisited and of course Puppets and Ride and Kill 'Em All, I was like, this is the greatest music ever written. I still feel that way now. To me, I don't think a band has ever topped Metallica in terms like Tool got close with their second full length record, Anima, whichever way you want to call
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
To me,
Yeah.
that's almost as good as Injustice for All. I consider that to be, and I saw them on that. I was lucky to see them on that tour. And I mean, man, Third Eye to me is the greatest song, top 3 greatest songs ever written. I don't understand how human beings wrote that. Like when you look at like your run of the mill politician, like your liar, it doesn't matter what party they're a part of. Who cares, right?
Yeah.
Liberal, conservative, doesn't matter. You're a liar. The guy you look at and you look at their eyes and the eyes are dead. Like there's nothing there. And you know that it's just like career politician, corporatist, whatever. And it's like the lowest ranking of what a person can be. So like for me, it's like that's my expectation. It's like disappointment because you have that. And for some reason in society, we've accepted that as something that's normal. Like, yeah, this guy is like, he represents these 50 corporations and somehow this person got elected and is in a position of power and is basically doing everything to get ahead for themselves and like fuck the people he's supposed to be working for, which in this case would be like the Canadian citizens, US citizens, whatever. Doesn't matter what the country is, right? And then you have like, I don't know, Devin Townsend, Tori Amos, Bruce Lee. You have these people that come out of nowhere and put out art or do martial arts or like a Wayne Gretzky or whatever. And you're like, dude, like I grew up with Wayne Gretzky.
Mm-hmm.
You literally watched like this magician playing hockey or Michael Jordan. And you're just like, how are they doing that? Because it's like, it's one thing to practice. Because a guy could put in the same time as a girl or another guy, but it's just like there's something innate there that's there that just makes them like what they are. And it's just, that's what's fascinating, that X factor that people have, where they're just like you and I'm obviously like speculating here. I don't think we'll ever play basketball the way Michael Jordan did. Do you know what I mean?
That is a very fair assessment at this point.
Right? So And in that same way, like, I don't think we'll ever play hockey the way Wayne Gretzky did. And then it's like, okay, am I ever going to sing as good as Devin Townsend? No. And it's like, there's only one guy like that. There's only like one Mike Patton, one Peter Steele. So you can't compete with people like that. You just have to do your own thing and pave your own way and hope. Like, is Joey Ramone one of the greatest singers ever? In some ways, yes. But is he a good technical singer? No. And it didn't matter because the Ramones did something that no one ever did before. And look, there was punk rock bands before. But it's to say, like, I mean, man, like, the Ramones are the Ramones. They're considered what? And I mean, maybe this doesn't matter. But Rolling Stone finally recognized them as, like, the second best band after the Beatles. Like, they're above the Stones, they're above Floyd and whatever. And I mean, I love Pink Floyd as well. But it's just to say, like, okay, now that like 4 out of the 6 guys are dead, it's like now they're getting the recognition, and it's like, really, you guys are a little late to the party here, you know?
Well, that's the kind of art. I saw you said there. Okay. I think this is how we're gonna. I think this is how I'm gonna put this. As he.
Sorry, I'm just opening up the curtain here.
No worries.
All right. Yeah, getting a bit dark here in Montreal, man.
No, I got you. So, how do I put this? So, I think this is the thing. I realize this about myself because I write books. Right, this podcast has won awards. My writing has won awards. The thing is, I never did any of that stuff to seek that kind of recognition. It's nice, but I didn't do it to seek it. I decided to be the best me I can be. I bet you. I mean, not after, but like during their journey, while they were in the middle of whatever their journey they were on. Wayne Gretzky was special, but if you were going to tell him, you were going to tell him when he started his career in Edmonton that he would have the career he had, he probably wouldn't have believed you. He probably wouldn't have, right? Because he was like, no fucking way. Same with Michael Jordan. Same with like Bruce Lee. Like how although like I said, we can debate how good of a fighter he was. He changed how martial arts was viewed. Like that's what Bruce Lee did.
Right.
I've learned. I think the real challenge, and with all of us, doesn't matter what we choose to do in life, is this: I can't control the impact I'm going to make on people's lives.
That's 100% true.
Right. So, but what I can do is be the best version of me I possibly can be, and let the chips fall where they may. And what I realize, and again, and the reason why I say that, because when you look at something like Rolling Stone finally acknowledging something, I realized, again, that's one of those, remember we're talking about those 5 things that really matter? Not once did I talk about public recognition from the world in general, because the world, it doesn't fucking matter. We all know
but right? It's to say like they finally caught up with the rest of the world.
Well, but right. There's a lot of, so I look at like some of these topics. There's a lot of money in politics in a lot of these publications too. So I don't look at it like that. I look at it more along the lines of, now it's like, I'm going to be the best me I can be. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to work on my thing. I'm going to worry about that. And if I get a zillion rewards, cool. What I care about is, that people will buy my Alice in Wonderland Greek mythology mashup story.
Right.
Right. That's what I care about. That people want to read that, or people want to listen to me bullshit with people from all over the world. Thank you, by the way. Right. And that's it. That's all. I think that's all I can control. I can be the best me I can be, and whatever comes my way, good or bad, comes my way, and I'll worry about those things as they come. Right. The rest doesn't matter. And I think if I were the Ramones, like, yeah, it's great that Rolling Stone finally recognized them, but you know what they probably, the remaining 2 Ramones are probably like with Rolling Stone at this point, meh, like it's like it's a little too like you weren't there when we were great, like, I'm sorry, it doesn't, you don't really matter anymore. It's like it's an afterthought. It's like, and who knows? Like maybe in like 5 years' time, and the Occult's got a bunch of albums out. You guys are touring. You might be the biggest thing in Latin America ever, right? You might not be. Like you might be big somewhere else, or you might be not. Right? Like who knows? I think the important thing, and I think the thing that really matters is you're going for it. And that's the important
100%,
thing.
man. Yeah.
Right? That's it. That's all that matters. The rest of it, right? Hopefully it works out for you. And that's all. I mean, I hope for that for everybody that comes on the show. Whatever dreams you have, it comes true.
Awesome, man. I appreciate that for sure,
Yeah. And then at some point I'll come watch you perform and you can be like, you and your happy power metal shit. Here, let me show you what your music sounds like. Right?
And then if it makes you happy, go bananas, that's it.
Totally. Totally. I definitely still would love to come see you live. Dude, I think I think we can do this. I think we have an interview here. What do you think?
Yeah, man. It was cool.
Yeah. So I guess since your new album just came out.
It's Friday.
Friday. Okay, it's coming out. So do you got like a single or something like that people can come listen to? Do they want to actually get?
There's 3 songs that are out. In This Night, Planet Pisces. We just put out a video for a song called Watch You Die. It's funny saying that out loud.
It's about
my guitar. Yeah, I'll tell you something quick that's really hilarious. I was in my old place, and I was doing yoga out of all the things that a person could do on a Saturday. And I started singing like the opening line to the song, which is, I don't know, like you had mentioned being unprepared or whatever. So I'm not sure like what you listen to or what have you, but
yeah,
basically, and it's fine if you didn't hear anything. Like it's all good, man. Like people are busy, right? But so the first line is cut off your fucking head. I'm gonna end your life, dance on your grave tonight. That's like the line. And I just laughed, man. I just laughed out loud because I thought it was ridiculously over the top. And I ran to the studio in the other room, and 26 hours later, the song was written, right? So, and in my head, I was like my favorite movie is Braveheart. So Braveheart, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and if there's a guy or a girl running around on a horse or on grass, like chopping people's heads off, I'm in, man. Like that's what I want to watch. Like I'm just into that.
Okay, so then hypothetically speaking, there's only one Highlander movie, the first one. You'd be into that. You'd be into that one.
I saw it a long time ago, and I guess now I'm gonna have to rewatch it because I remember it being awesome.
Yeah, the first movie's great. Don't go past it. Just
I think I saw more than I saw like as a kid. Renting it on VHS or whatever.
Yeah, no. I'm just saying, like, trust me, I'm doing you a favor. Highlander, the first Highlander movie, is fantastic.
Right.
While I watch more Highlander, the series is not bad. Right? Okay. There's good ones, there's bad ones, but the series is pretty solid. Right. Don't watch any of the other movies. Okay. Just don't. You will be very, very disappointed. Like very quickly,
right?
Oh my
God.
Yeah.
Noted.
Yeah. No, it's a fair one. As I like to think, maybe we've made a halfway decent friendship here in the hour we've talked.
Sure, man.
Yeah. As a friend, there's only one Highlander movie, and follow that rule. Just follow that rule.
Noted.
Yes.
So yeah, just to finish, man. So the third single is "Watch You Die." Our guitarist wrapped it. I think he spent like 170 hours working on it while he was working full time. So he really
he went all in.
He went all in, and it's awesome. So people should definitely check it out. You can pre-order the record on Bandcamp. It's there. theoccultbands.bandcamp.com. So yeah, those songs are there. You can go on Spotify if that's what you do, or Apple Music or whatever, and stream it there if you like. That's also fine. Fuck, man, you could even go download it. I don't give a shit. Like for me, it's like, are you listening to it? Do you like it? Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Thanks, man. Yeah. So there's
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's cool. So the album drops this Friday. By the time this airs as an audio episode, that'll be about 2.5 weeks from now. So, folks, if you are listening to this, the album is out now. And if you want to get it, go to theoccultband.bandcamp.com. I always recommend the Bandcamp sites for bands that have it, because that's usually where they get the most, they do the best at. So always check out the Bandcamp stuff, check them out, go see them perform, come see them perform. This was the conversation. Now tomorrow, this was a very heavy metal week. Tomorrow we go back to just authors again. Colin Maverick returns to the show. And for people who are interested, I do advertising services. I make videos about projects and themselves. I'm going to put that link up here real quick to wrap this up. And then for everybody watching, everybody listening, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This is my link to my website right there. For everybody watching, everybody listening, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Stay inspired. Keep shining in the dark. And I'll see you guys